Good morning, children. Today I'm going to continue chapter 12 Peter Meets Wendy. Children, yesterday I knew that there are four characters in this chapter: Peter, John, Wendy, and Michael. And children, you know, the scene is in the bedroom, and there are three darling children. There are three beds and a night light above each. And children, there are three children. There are two boys aged 6 and 8 and a girl aged about 12 years are sleeping in the beds. And children, today I'm going to start this chapter from page number 112. So children, now let's come to the page number 112. Children, if you have your book, then please open your book, the page number 112. Children, Wendy says, after shocking, "What? Doesn't your mother get any?" Then Peter replies, "Don't have a mother. I think mothers are overrated anyway." When Wendy says that, "What? Doesn't your mother get any?" Then Peter says, "Oh, I don't have mother and I think mothers are overrated." Children, overrated means a person, place or thing that is considered to be better than they actually are. Okay. Then Wendy, even more shocked, and says, "Oh Peter, no wonder you were crying." Wendy gets out of bed and rushes towards him. She leaves her bed and goes to the Peter. Then Peter says, "I wasn't crying about mothers." Means I am not searching my mother. I was crying because I can't get my shadow to stick to me. Then Peter says to Bandy, "I am not searching my mother. I am not crying for my mother because I don't have my mother and I think mothers are overrated. But I am crying because I have lost my shadow. I am not finding my shadow. I don't know where my shadow has gone. And I can't get it my shadow to stick to me." Then Wendy says, "Oh, has it come off? How awful." Means how dangerous is it? How you lost your shadow. Then Peter says, "Why are you smiling?" हाँ, मतलब वो पूछता है कि आप अब मुस्कुरा क्यों रही हो. हाँ, why are you smiling? Then Wendy pointing at the soap. Then pointing at the शो वेंडी पॉइंट करती है, मतलब इशारा करती है सोप की तरफ, साबुन की तरफ. बिकॉज इट वुड नॉट बी स्टक ऑन विद सोप, इट मस्ट बी सीन ऑन. Then Peter says, "What scene? How the soap can be seen with it?" Then Wendy says, patronisingly, "Never mind, I shall see it on for you, my little man. Yes, don't worry, I can see your shadow back to your feet." Then Wendy takes out a sewing basket full of rolls of thread, yarn, and various other sewing equipment. She proceeds to pick up the shadow and hold it up to Peter, examining it. Then Wendy, "I shall sew it onto your foot. I dare say it will hurt a bit." Means then Pendy says, "Peter, don't worry, I can take your shadow back to your feet. I can stitch your shadow to your feet. Don't worry, but you will feel some hurt. You will feel some pain when I will sew your shadow to your feet." Then Peter confidently, "If it does, I shan't cry. I have never cried in my life." Means don't worry, you can use your all equipments on my feet and please stitch my shadow back to my feet. I will never cry. I never cried in my life and today I will also not cry. Okay? You don't worry. Please stitch my shadow back to my feet. Okay? Then Wendy proceeds to see the shadow onto his foot. He clenches his teeth a little but does not cry. Peter begins bounding about the room the moment she is done. Peter, "Oh, how wonderful it is. to be back with my shadow. I'm so clever. Then Peter says, I'm so clever. How I get my shadow back. Then Wendy says, of course, it was all your cleverness. Wow, how wonderful and how the clever person you are. And of course, it was all your cleverness. I did nothing at all. Means everything you have done, I did nothing in this work. Then Peter glancing over at her. Oh, yes, you did a little. I know you did a little. Wendy looking offended. Then a little, well, if that's all the use I am, I might as well go back to bed. Wendy climbs back into bed and pulls the covers over her face. Peter goes over to her and taps the bottom of the bed where her foot is. Then when Wendy goes to his bed and covers his mouth with his cover, then Peter goes to Wendy and taps the bottom of the bed where her foot was. Then Peter says, Wendy, Wendy, don't go to sleep. Please don't sleep. I can't help crying about it when I am pleased with myself. Okay. There is no response from Wendy. So Peter goes nearer. When Wendy do not reply, then when Wendy doesn't reply, then Peter again goes to him and says, Peter sweetly says, dear, dear Wendy, one girl is more than 20 boys. Now he was saying something that, dear, dear Wendy, one girl is more than 20 boys. Then Wendy peeping out from under the sheets. Okay, then Wendy looks out. Oh, do you really think so, Peter? Now Wendy asks, really think you, Peter, do you really think so? Then Peter, yes, I do. I think so. Then Wendy sits up and eyes him curiously. Then Wendy looks on the Peter. Looks on Peter. Peter, how old are you? Then Peter looking uncomfortable and replies, I don't know. I ran away the day I was born and I lived with the fairies. जब वैंडी पूछती है पीटर आपकी एज क्या है, देन पीटर रिप्लाइज आई डोंट नो माई एज बिकॉज आई रन अवे द डे आई वॉज बॉर्न. मीन्स जिस दिन मेरा जन्म हुआ था मैं उस दिन वहाँ से भाग गया. एंड आई लिव्ड विद द फेरीज. मैं अब यहाँ से एक दूसरा आपका पोर्शन इस चैप्टर का स्टार्ट होता है कि जब वो बोलता है कि मैं जिस दिन मेरा जन्म हुआ मैं वहाँ से भाग गया और वहाँ से भागने के बाद आई लिव्ड विद द फेरीज. ओके. देन Wendy, oh, would you do that? Peter says, walking around the room, because I heard my mother and father talking about what I was to become, how I would be man one day. I don't ever want to be a man. Then Wendy says, my goodness, but Peter, wouldn't you tell me about the fairies? Then Peter looking pleased. Fairies are the loveliest things. Do you know that when the first baby laughed for the first time, its laugh broke into 1,000 pieces and each piece became a fairy. So there ought to be one fairy for every boy and girl. Then Wendy asks, ought to be, aren't there? I think then Wendy says, क्या परियां जो है वो होती हैं? परी यानी कि फेरीज होती हैं क्या? मुझे तो नहीं लगता कि फेरीज भी होती हैं. देन पीटर लुकिंग सीरियस. नो फॉर चिल्ड्रन टुडे डोंट बिलीव इन फेरीज एनीमोर.